The Niners are no stranger to high-performing quarterbacks. This kid has taken the league by storm since emerging as the San Francisco 49ers starting quarterback during the 2022 season, even finishing as an NFL MVP finalist in 2023. This is even more impressive when you learn that Brock Purdy was the very last pick of the 2022 NFL Draft. Now, you all probably knew that, or else why would you be watching this video? However, there are some neat things about Mr. Relevant that you don't know. What are they? In this video, we'll be going over 10 things you may not know about the transcending star, and be sure to stick around. Bonus facts will be included throughout, and the last fact will blow your mind. Brock Purdy's father was a minor league baseball player. The Purdy family is full of athletes, but the first of them all was Brock's father, Sean Purdy. From 1991 to 1998, Sean Purdy was a minor league baseball player. Sean played as a pitcher in the then California Angels, Kansas City Royals, and Oakland Athletics organizations. Sean started off his career as a starting pitcher, starting 15 games and posting a 3.01 ERA. For the non-baseball fans watching this video, that's really good. However, this would be by far the best season of his career, as the lowest ERA he would put up as a starter for the rest of his minor league career would be 3.69, followed by a 4.92 ERA the year after. For the non-baseball fans watching this video, that's really bad. However, Sean Purdy was still a pro athlete because of his arm, much like another Purdy we know. Sean would retire after the 1998 season, pursuing his next career, being a father, which resulted in him raising 3 collegiate athletes. What a career, Sean. Speaking of Sean Purdy, for the last 20 years, he and his wife Carrie have owned a hot tub company called Fantastic Spa Outlet in Mesa, Arizona. When Brock and the 49ers are playing, Sean and Carrie will either let somebody they trust run the store, or more times than not, close the store entirely to watch their son play football, leaving a sign on the door that says, "We went home to watch the football game. Go Niners." That's some real dedication. Fantastic Spa Outlet even got a shout-out on NBC's Sunday Night Football in 2023, giving the business its most traction yet. Since his draft day in 2022, Brock and the Purdys have seen a ton of success. If you're in the Mesa, Arizona area, be sure to pay them a visit. They'd love to have you. FYI, this is not a paid advertisement. Brock loves to go camping, fish, and hunt. His favorite season of the year is winter, when he watches and plays in the snow. He also loves that at Christmas, he gets to celebrate his Savior Jesus' birth. Faith, family, football, and nature are the kinds of things Purdy is all about.
My identity isn't in football, the things that can come with it, and it's all, such a blessing. I'm very thankful for it, and I'm not taking it for granted. But honestly, my mindset is I try to hold this all loosely, not try to hold on to, I need to be the guy, the starter in the NFL, this and that. I'm not them, and they're not me. Like, I know who I am, and God, if you want me to do great with this, great. If not, all right, let's go do something else, wherever you need me.
That's what keeps him calm and poised when all the pressure mounts up around him and allows him to find the beauty of life beyond the game.
It's good.
Brock has a golden retriever named Bendy, and he loves taking her camping with him and his family. Purdy's favorite fish to catch are largemouth bass, specifically with the largest bass he's ever caught being around 6 pounds. Not bad for a boy from Arizona. He says fishing is the most relaxing thing a man can do. If this is what keeps Purdy so calm and collected in the pocket on the field, then maybe you quarterbacks watching should add fishing to your training routine. Despite being from Arizona, Purdy was a massive fan of the Dolphins growing up, especially Dan Marino. Which is funny because Marino played before Purdy was even born. Brock became a Dolphins fan because of his father, who, funny enough, even watched a Dolphins game while Brock's mother, Carrie, was in labor with him. It makes complete sense why Brock's favorite player would be Dan Marino now.
My dad, he loved you growing up. I wear 13 and everything because of you, man, so I appreciate it.
Marino was an absolute stud, winning an MVP in his second ever season after throwing for 5,084 yards and 48 touchdowns in 1984. Who else was an MVP candidate in their second year? Somehow, in poetic fashion, the game Purdy truly broke out as the 49ers starting quarterback was against the Miami Dolphins, a game that had Dan Marino in attendance. Such a poetic start to what would become the best underdog story in recent NFL memory. Brock Purdy lives with a few of his teammates. California taxes are amongst the highest in the United States, and San Francisco is an even more expensive place to live. Now, Purdy is not hurting financially compared to most in the world, but he is also extremely underpaid compared to NFL quarterbacks less accomplished than him, with Purdy's annual salary only being around $900,000 pre-taxed. He's saving on expenses by living with some of his teammates, offensive lineman Nick Zakelj and Alfredo Gutierrez. Zakelj and Gutierrez are both backups, meaning their salaries about match up with Purdy's, and of course, Purdy, as the very last pick in the draft, spent a lot of time with these two prior to finally getting his breakout moment, so them being roommates helps all of them keep more money in their pockets. The trio have formed a brotherly bond and even sent out a holiday card of themselves to all of their teammates and co-workers in the Niners organization. These guys are great. They started from the bottom and take many opportunities to serve the Bay Area and community service. Don't worry though, Brock Purdy will soon be getting a massive payday. He'll be able to afford a little bit more space, especially with his new bride, Jenna. Brock Purdy played a draft day prank on his family. On day 3 of the 2022 NFL Draft, Brock and his family sat in their living room just waiting on that oh-so-coveted call. However, they were all free agent calls from teams assuming Brock wouldn't be drafted at all. Purdy would go into the other room to take these calls, so when Kyle Shanahan and the San Francisco 49ers called Brock to tell him that he would be drafted with the very last pick in the draft, he decided to play a prank on his family. Brock would come back into the living room, telling his family it was just another free agent call, waiting to see their reactions when his name was ultimately called. But that wouldn't happen. Before the pick was announced, his name would be displayed on their TV screen, shocking his entire family.
The San Francisco 49ers select Purdy, a quarterback from Iowa State.
Brock's entertainment choices. As you would expect, this man loves country music. One of his favorite bands is Midland. But when Brock drives his Toyota Sequoia, music is not his preferred choice while on the road. He enjoys listening to podcasts, learning about what makes a successful marriage, and sharing that with Jenna so that they can experience a winning marriage. This guy's a class act. Better said, the real deal. Brock Purdy was a culinary student in high school. In his junior and senior seasons at Perry High School, while he was the star quarterback, he was also in their culinary class. His culinary teacher was quoted as saying he was competitive in culinary. I can't remember specifically what he made, but that's actually a good thing because if it were horrible, I would have remembered. He and his partner would create a Western-style restaurant, and of course, Purdy does nothing halfway, so he came to class in a full cowboy outfit, hat, boots, and all. Not a surprise at all for somebody with the work ethic and dedication Brock Purdy has. Even the family Purdy is marrying into has collegiate athletes. Purdy's fiancée, Jenna Brandt, was a volleyball player at Iowa State. Yes, they met at Iowa State while they were both freshmen. Brandt was a competitive volleyball player and even playing tournaments with Iowa State in South America. After 3 years as a Cyclone, Brandt would transfer to the University of Northern Iowa to finish off her college career, leaving Purdy's school but staying close enough to continue their relationship. Brock and Jenna got engaged in July of 2023 and in 2024 are officially tying the knot. Brock Purdy was almost a Minnesota Viking. Before being drafted by the 49ers, Purdy was being heavily targeted by the Minnesota Vikings if he were to be an undrafted free agent. The odds of Purdy signing with the Vikings if he hadn't been drafted were very high, as both parties were more than interested. Can you imagine if Purdy would have ended up in Minnesota instead of San Francisco? Bang Bang Niner gang would have been stuck with Trey Lance. Luckily, John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan covered one of their worst mistakes with one of their best moves in their 49ers tenure. Imagine if they would have kept all of the draft capital that they dealt for the right to draft Trey Lance. They could have used those picks to add to an already loaded roster. Let that be a lesson for all NFL teams. Trading up in the draft does not necessarily work. If teams actually focused on developing players rather than trying to get the big name players, maybe they would see more success. That's it. Now you know 10 things you didn't know about Brock Purdy that you didn't know before. Which fact shocked you the most? Are there any that we missed? Let us know in the comments. Niner fans are going to have to get used to people hating on Brock Purdy, saying he's not great, he's all hype, he's just a system quarterback, he's on a loaded roster, blah, blah, blah. Well, who cares? From what I see, he's a very humble dude who values what truly matters. What do you think? Are you a Brock Purdy fan? If you made it this far and enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe. It helps us to make better videos for you. As always, thank you for watching The Halftime Show. See y'all in the next one.